Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Sunday Service Podcast. I am your host, Sister Stephanie.
I'm your host, Sister Sally.
And here we are on this beautiful 85-degree Wednesday
so
night.
nice.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful, except the traffic in Miami.
What happened? Why is it like this?
Today has been unreal. It didn't matter. Like, I left the house this morning at 8:30, and my street was blocked off.
Oh my God. There's so much construction, right? There's
Yeah.
just so many things happening.
They blocked it off. There was cranes. And you know, the gym is 2 blocks away from my house. I got stuck in traffic going to the gym.
You should have just walked.
It took me 25 minutes.
You should have just walked.
That's crazy. Yeah, I should have just walked.
Yeah, because you went to anatomy?
Yes. It was the
It's
one day I decided to drive.
Maybe 2 blocks from her house.
That's the thing about being here in Miami. Like, right now, the weather is perfect and everyone's coming down and the traffic is just insane. Yeah.
Like during Art Basel, which is approaching quickly. Literally, if I didn't work, I would not leave my house.
Yeah, you can't.
Like the traffic itself like triples. Like I remember like one of the nights last year, it was like a causeway I was trying to get across to go do a client, and it took me 45 minutes just to get across the causeway.
Usually if I leave my house to come here, it'll take me maybe 7 minutes, maybe 10.
Yeah.
It just took me like 30 minutes to get here.
Yeah, that's insane. So annoying.
Yeah, it was definitely 30, if not 31, 32 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, I texted you that I was leaving at 4:15. And I didn't get here till like 5.
I know.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
Anyways, besides that, everything is just dandy. We are solo tonight, as you can see, but so many good things on the way.
Yes, so many good things. More guests. We're going to try to make that a theme of this season. And we were kind of like talking today. Both of us have like a lot coming up, especially with the holidays approaching. Like,
yeah, I'm sure you all could relate.
Everybody, like, I always blink,
comes so fast.
and it's like over, and like I don't even know what happened. It
comes so fast and it goes so fast just because it's just nonstop.
Especially since I moved here, because of like things like Art Basel and stuff. It's like Thanksgiving, Art Basel, Christmas, New Year's,
club, another
like
club. Yeah,
what's happening? And then all of a sudden it's February. You're like, wait, what?
Yeah. Oh God. How?
I know. Time is flying, and like I'm going out of town coming up here. Steph's going out of town, so we are always trying to make this podcast a priority and film. And even though we have our crazy lives going on all the time, we were kind of chatting about what we should like talk about today, because we have some other topics in the works for other days. And I was thinking, why don't we talk about like finances a little bit? Because something that like has been coming up a lot in my life lately, it has been financial stress. And like how I handle it now in my like 32 years of age is so much different than I used to handle it. So I'm like happy about that. But it's still one of the only things that makes me really stressed out.
Yeah.
Like, and makes me feel like actual anxiety, you know? And it causes stress in my relationships. And like, I just like think it's a good thing to talk about, because it's not, you know, you hear.
It shouldn't be taboo. Is what
No,
you're saying.
yeah. Like, cause like you'll like, if you're swiping on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, you see a lot of men talk about finances.
Yeah.
And it's always a common theme where men are like selling something and their brands are revolve around making money and all that stuff. But we don't hear tons of women talking about like their finances and like how to be more comfortable and like relieve stress and like, you know what I mean? And I think that I am like interested in like bringing that up, because I'm like, this has been something that has been a stressor of mine since I can remember.
Yeah.
Like, and I think part of that was because my dad like instilled it in me, because I watched him stress over money 24/7. And he was not poor or anything by any means. He wasn't rich, but it was a stress of his because he like always had the mentality of like never live above your means and never spend more than you have.
I mean, smart.
Like don't go into debt for anything. Like he would never even like finance a car. He would buy it in cash. Period. Like if he couldn't afford it in cash, he wasn't buying it.
Couldn't afford it. Yeah.
So I was growing up driving in a little 2-seater pickup truck with my dad, but we weren't struggling.
Yeah.
That's just like how he lived, you know?
Yeah.
And then I was allowed to get my first credit card before I was 18, I think when I got my first bank account.
Same, yeah.
And of course, I went and racked that shit up.
It's crazy,
at the mall on some Jordans and some fucking Nike sweatpants and shit,
bullshit.
Dumb shit.
Yeah.
Bought my boyfriend at the time some shoes.
Of course.
You know, like, here, I got you.
Oh, no.
And then all of a sudden my fucking credit card is well over my limit, which was back then like less than $2,000. But that's a lot when you're like 16 years old.
Oh, of course.
And then I remember him looking at me and saying, well, now you got to pay it back. And I was like,
You're like, Dad.
What? I have to pay it back?
No.
And so I just remember that time in my life instilling this fear and anxiety of like, oh my God, like I have this debt and like I have to pay it now. Yeah. So
I could like hear my mom's voice right now saying like, when it comes to like taxes and stuff, being like, the IRS is going to come for you. And I'm like, who is the IRS? Like, are people
who are the IRS?
Yeah, like, who's gonna knock on my door and like, what are they gonna do? Take me down for my taxes?
Though.
Like, but this is crazy.
That is what the world we live in, and what I was thinking about earlier.
Do they do that? They tackle people to the ground when they get them.
Can I tell you?
What do they do?
I'll tell you a quick story. I'll tell you a quick story because I have one. It's not about me. It was a friend of mine at the time. One of my exes, his like best friend. It's a quick story, but he was like. In medical device sales, he had his own medical device company, and he was making millions.
It's a good business.
Yeah, and he had like a drug addiction problem.
Shit.
And he was this was a story after he got sober that I heard from him later on. But he was like, yeah, he was making millions. His company was doing amazing. And he fell into a hole with OxyContin. And he was, getting high all the time. He would fucking fly to Vegas for a weekend and spend $50K, no problem, in like 24 to 48 hours on strippers, pills, and like whatever, and just blowing through all the money he was making. He had an Audi R8 when they first came out, or R8, i8, whatever. Sorry, I'm not a car person.
Same.
And he told me that by the end of like his like rock bottom, basically, he owed the IRS so much fucking money, and he was to the point where he couldn't even put $5 of gas.
Oh, because they would just take anything.
In his I8, yeah. And then one day they busted his door down and took all his furniture.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like they literally took everything because he owed them that much money.
Damn.
And then he went to rehab, but the rehab was basically like a jail. And then he still had, and now to this day, he is sober. I want to say, so when I met him, I think he was like 5 years sober. So he's got to be like 10 years sober.
Crazy
now.
how doing drugs is literally just the downfall for everyone.
And I know we're going to get on that topic one of these days too. That's for sure going to be a multiple episode topic.
Yeah.
Like, that is a huge thing we're both passionate about too. Because we know people close to us and whatever. But that's kind of like what I was wanting to talk about was the finance part, because like I think over the years I've like learned to like be more transparent about my finances with people who I'm in either like I'm close friends with, and I have my reasons for that, my family, and my partner. I'm very open about like money.
I mean, realistically, what would be the downside of letting people in your life like, know that those things? Well, you know what I mean? Like,
look at the fucking city we live in, Miami. Like it's literally the city of scammers. And that's what they call it. And people are living above their means everywhere you turn. And it's all like a facade you put on, right? And I like just, I don't know. That's just something that I've never been, because I've had from a young age had it instilled in me to like never do that.
I feel like it's crazy when you grow up like not rich, I guess. Anything other than not rich.
Yeah.
Like, because even if I know families that were like middle class, and I wouldn't say they were struggling to like have food on the table, but like in hindsight, like they weren't balling out or like going on vacations or had super nice cars. I mean, situational, but whatever. I feel like if you grow up with money and like not worrying about money, it's not a concept that you really understand. When you're young and money is something that's like a stressor and that's just what you know it to be, I think that no matter what, you can't like grow out of that no matter how much money you make in your future.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Joe Rogan talked about this in one of his podcasts, how like growing up and like experiencing adversity and like being broke or being poor, or, like living with parents who lived, you know, below their means just to like be able to live, you know?
Yeah.
It instills something in you. Like it makes you just more cautious about like reckless spending, you know?
Yeah.
Because if there's one thing I also learned from my childhood and just my life, is that it doesn't matter how up you are at any point in life. Like I've seen people
lose it all.
Yeah. Like lose it all. And it doesn't matter who you are. Like, and that could happen multiple times in your life. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. This reminds me of a story of that our pastor at VU told about, it was like, I'm probably going to butcher the story a little bit, whatever. But there was like this billionaire guy who was like an investor or something. I don't even know. But there was he told this story about him and then this janitor who, like, looking at this janitor, you would think like, oh, there's no way his net worth is more than his, right? Well, something happened where the billionaire's company went bankrupt. And little did you know, the janitor had been saving everything he made since the day he started working, and he was a millionaire.
There was just a movie that came out that Johnny and I watched.
And it was like all his.
Yeah, where it's like
there was no like invested in anything. It was his money.
Wow.
And like, I was like, it was like a longer story than that, but like I thought about it and I was like, holy shit, that is crazy.
Well, that's why when I see like homeless people on the street, and obviously like, hopefully in my right mind, I'll never end up on the street, but that could fucking be anyone.
Yeah.
That could be anyone. Like people in my family have been on the street before. You know what I mean? Like technically I've slept in my car before. You know what I mean? Like that could be anyone. So like, you know, no one's better than anyone, because at any given moment you can have your world flipped upside down and either go bankrupt, or you know, a divorce takes you out, or an illness, that's it, or, you know, some type of legal shit, like who knows?
Yeah, and it's like we live in a country where financial reasons is like one of the top reasons people get divorced. And like it's because of things like this, like where, you know, like you're like living in a world where money is the most important thing, you know, which is sad. It's super sad. And that's like the reality of it though. Like our government down to, you know, all the people around us, you know what I mean? Like it's all about money. Like,
yeah, well, we're also living in like the craziest time right now. Like I feel like after COVID, like, and Johnny and whoever else called this, like at that time, that we are going to like recession city. Like I mean, everything is so, I was literally just having this conversation before. Like, even if you do have money, like everything is still really expensive.
Well, I
like,
was just like thinking about that. Like, how do I even afford what I afford? I think I
don't know how, I don't know how anyone does it.
I'm just like out here
making it work. Yeah.
Like, but then okay, zoom out and we look at all the other countries around the world and we're like, we're rich compared to them, you know?
Yeah.
And like,
and meanwhile we're stressing and losing sleep and fighting with our boyfriends and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. And that it's something that this is something I want to make a personal goal for myself this year, is like, I really want to take a step back from making finances such a big part of my life, you know? Like however I have to do that, like where I'm not going to be so focused on like how much
I'm gonna get.
like I need more, like kind of thing. I want to be so okay with where I'm at financially that I'm not causing myself more anxiety because truthfully, we don't need more. We have what we need.
Yeah.
At least, people like me and you.
For sure.
Like we're not struggling. And so like I just like I don't want to give so much power to a thing, which is money, like I worship a God. I don't worship a thing, and that's like how the majority of this country lives their lives is worshiping money. Like they're always out for the next thing. Like, people are signing prenups. That's a normal thing now. Like it actually is more weird if you don't sign one, which it's like marriage wasn't even meant to be that. You know what I mean? Like, and no matter what, now, no matter what, money has become the center of everything.
Yeah.
And I just like feel like I even want to like, why am I spending so much money on mindless clothes and things to impress other people?
Me and my girlfriend were just talking about it the other day about how like even just like spending money on clothes right now, like even if you got some money to spend on like it's so that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like that's such a luxury. Like
it's a luxury.
And even like getting your nails done, like there's some things that I feel like I have to do to just like keep my mental, my head on straight. But I'm like, this shit adds up. And it's because things are more expensive, you know? Like even us in our professions, like we charge more than ever, but you have to.
Yeah.
Like you have to. I wouldn't be able to survive on the rates that people are used to 3 years ago, like it's just not the same.
Well, and this is like a little bit of a shift, but think about it like, okay, both of us are not single right now. So we can't really answer this question as much as like somebody who is, but if you're dating and let's just say a man was so transparently honest with you about his finances when he met you, saying like, look, I would love to be a provider eventually, but I can't right now. Would you go on another date with him? Or would you quite possibly let your potential husband walk away because you have this idea in your head that they need to have money right now to provide? Like that is crazy. That
it is it is crazy, and it's also like remember, even if you get with a guy who is well off and has all this money, doesn't mean that at some point he might not have that again. Like life changes really fast, and I feel like nowadays, like it's just, I mean, how many examples do you need of people like losing it all? Like it's just. You have to know that, So to have that be like your main focus and your main thing is, it's just,
it just shows how much it controls. Like, it's just like, like to be honest, if I would have done that with Aiden, like he moved here and met me right after he moved here. So he wasn't like up like that at all. So like, if I would have judged right then on that, we probably wouldn't be together right now.
Right.
Like, and I know what type of person I'm with, and I'm like so thankful that I came across him, But I was like, talking about this with, a group of girls at dinner, and like some of them brought up like, oh, I don't like that. Like, a man should always put his credit card out if, you're at a dinner, even with with a bunch of people. And I'm like, well, I disagree. Like, I don't think that a man has to put his credit card out for a whole table of people. Like, for his woman, sure. Like, if you're like on a date, but like, I don't think it's a responsibility. If you don't have it, you shouldn't do it, and nobody should judge you on that.
Of course.
Like,
especially now, like, come on.
Right. So, and then we were kind of talking on that topic. And then there was other things coming up like, well, my man is following random Instagram girls and liking their pictures all day long, but like then like commenting on the finance thing. I'm like, what are we really looking for here? I'm confused.
Yeah.
But like, and honestly, like, I don't want to like judge people for what they are looking for as requirements in relationships. But like, that is crazy that we're like making that a like
priority.
Yeah,
like
over other
standard.
things.
Yeah. Well, it's like we know what kind of person we're looking for, right? You and I tend to gravitate towards men who want to do better and want to go getter and want to be better, like do all of the things. So even if your man is not in a place where he can financially like support you guys as a team and like pay for everything and pay for dinners when you guys are out with 10 plus people, like even if he can't do that right now, you sticking by his side and supporting him and making his life easier in whatever way so he can get done what he needs to get done to be able to do that in the future.
Yeah.
Like that's life. It's sacrifice, you know, and for a better cause, like it brings you closer. It shows, you know, your loyalty and like what is important to you in your relationship. And like, I'm someone who in a relationship, I look for, and I wasn't looking for this going into this current relationship, but it is something that like is just like a standard to me now. Like I can't not be this way, but like I do want a provider. I want to like have that role and I want that.
Yeah. And that's the thing is I was like, by no means would you, I'm not over here like saying I would go out with somebody who's like, I don't got a job.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
that's because you know you want someone who's.
But like I also know like what it takes to be an actual provider, because being a provider isn't just financial. It's emotional. It's loyalty. It's safety, security, and that's not just finances. That's that's a lot of things. And like someone who is freshly dating someone and they're already like in girls' DMs and they're getting caught, that is not somebody who's going to offer you emotional security and safety. It's just not going to happen, you know? So like you have to be able to like dissect and look at a man and like be like, okay, is he with my help as a team? Is he going to be the provider? If the answer is, you should be able to figure that out, you know, without knowing what his financial state is like right away, you know.
Yeah,
like
I don't think like standard for a relationship you should know their financial space like until maybe you move in together.
Yeah,
you know what I
think
mean?
Like a slow progression is like normal. I don't think
just because when you spend time around someone, like unless they're like hiding their life from you, like you know, you hear things, you see things. Like
I think that's one of the things that attracted me so much to Aiden was like on our first date. On our first date, we talked about a lot of emotional things, morals, values, and they were all aligning. And then like maybe a couple weeks in, there was like at one point where he was like, we had done a few things together, and there was one point where sorry, pause. We had to pick up the fur baby.
So fucking cute.
No, but what I was saying was I think like a couple weeks in, a couple dates, like Aiden was like, look, like, not at this moment do I want to be going out and doing all this stuff. I got to focus on building my finances up. I just moved here. Was so honest.
You're like, straight up, let's
and I was
get this
like,
bread.
Whoa, okay. Yeah. Like, and to be honest, a lot of women would have been like, ew, like he can't take me out, you know?
Yeah, like he's got to get his money up. Like that's should be attractive to you that he gives a fuck about that.
But like seeing him before that, yeah, exactly. Seeing him before that, and then like where he was living, like it's not like I was blindly, it wasn't like a first date. This was like a couple weeks later.
Right.
And just the transparency he gave me with that, I was like, wow. Like most people would have lied about that. Most guys would have lied about that or made up an excuse as to why they couldn't go out.
Right.
You know? And so I took that for what it was. I was like, wow, he was really brutally honest with me. And that is such a good sign. Like, and now fast forward like a year later and he is moving into that role of the provider, you know? Like it's by me putting into his trust into him. And not judging him.
That's what it is too, though, is like once you get, because I don't think women should just automatically get into a relationship with someone and if they provide financial security, like that's great and all, but like you need to trust this person first, that they're not going to just rip the fucking floor out from under you. You know what I mean? Because I'm currently in a relationship to be honest, that I'm not the one who worries about the finances. Like I don't really know my name's on things, but like, for my benefit, and like I don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
And that wasn't always the case, like it took a while for us to get there, and I wasn't always like as dependent. No matter how much money I make, it's not like I'm like not working or he's against me working, but if I do, it's mine to keep, and I don't think that I could have gotten in a relationship like off the bat and blindly just been like, this guy's gonna take care of my life. Like, let's go. Like, no, you need to really trust the person that you're with and trust that like they got you.
Well, and you made sure like you had your own thing going on.
Yeah,
when you met
always.
him,
Yeah.
and you made
and I
sure
still do,
of that. Yeah. And you made sure of that. And you didn't just like blindly like stop. Like,
no, I couldn't at first. I had to really build like trust and bond with him and like know that like he's got my back no matter what. Like I'll be fine.
That's why I think it's like important to just like touch on these topics, like because finances should not control your life.
Yeah.
And you should always like, be honest with like the people you're getting into a relationship with. Like,
yeah, I agree with that.
What your expectations are and what you have going on. You know what I mean? Because I'm not saying like you have to like know their credit score, but like it's something to just be open about, because I think that can like save a lot of things in the future.
100%.
And like me and Aiden laugh about how much debt I'm like I have, and like he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna help you take care of it, like and he knew about that right away. Like I talk about it. I'm very transparent with a lot of things in my life, but like it only helps like, relieve stress in relationships.
Yeah,
like
for
if
sure.
you already know what's going on.
And imagine like having to hide that like burden from him.
Yeah.
That would also make you like more stressed probably. And then that would come out in your relationship.
Yeah.
And then it would just be like a whole ripple effect of shit.
Or like, and vice versa. Like if a man is over here pretending like he got it, taking you out all the time and like whatever, like it's gonna explode eventually, and it's only gonna hurt himself. So, and it's because a lot of these guys, like they feel like they need to live up to this expectation.
For what? For who?
Yeah.
For who?
Literally.
If you have the wrong people in your life, maybe, but anyone will support you at any stage. Or, you know what I mean? Like
I went on a date with a doctor before I was dating Aiden off of Hinge, and he was like young, had his like doctorate degree. Like I was like very smart, made a lot of money, and he like refused to take me on a date, and I was like, what? Like, and he straight up said like, I'm not going to invest until I know it's worth it. And I was like, so this is like the other side of things, right?
Oh yeah, that's a whole
So
other...
like, I'm like, I was confused by it. I was like, what do you mean? Like, and I didn't really think anything of it when our first date was at a Starbucks. Like, that's cute.
That's cute.
Sure, whatever. Yeah. We went and got a coffee, walked, talked, whatever.
Yeah. And
next date, wanting to come over, and I said no. I was like, I want to go out to dinner or something like that. Like, let's make reservations, and like,
and then that's when
that's basically when it was. Yeah. And I was like, and because I maybe I just had a strong argument, but he ended up taking me out to dinner and whatever. And then after that, he was clear as to like, I needed to try harder now. So like, it was like, he has the money and the means to show that he is that type of provider or potential to be a provider, but he didn't want to because he felt like, I don't know if he had been burned too many times.
That's what I was going to say. He sounds like someone who has just been burned and taken advantage of, you know, and he needs to find someone. Because especially now, and, you have this experience with people that you met up with a couple days ago who looked at it like this, like, I don't know, like, I lost my train of thought, to be honest.
People that I met up with a couple days ago.
Yeah, having the expectation. Wow, that's crazy. Of like, you know, the man needs to provide like right off the bat, and you know, not proving your loyalty. Like, it says a lot when a girl sticks by your side when you're not, you know, killing it the way that you know you should be or know that you're capable of, you know?
Yeah.
So
that's why it's like, it just like comes full circle. Like, money is literally driving all of these things. Like, it was driving why he didn't want to take me on a date. It was like, you know what I mean? Like, these are all things that like money is controlling.
yeah,
and like, if
up.
we were to just like not like focus so much on that, we could find more genuine connections. Well, that's also to say
they like, you know, trust the universe that the money will come to you. And when you open up to that abundance. And like, yeah, you really believe it and really actually let go of that burden of it holding you back. I really do believe that like those things come to you, you know, when absolutely. You just like trust and like, you know, I don't know why I'm like this, but I'm like hardwired this way where I just like, I don't know if it's because I've just like gotten to this point in my life and I've always just had like trust and like not stress around money, even though I grew up in an environment where money was like, oh my God, like everything. I don't stress it, but that's not to say like, you know, it doesn't affect me too. Like, I see my man constantly thinking about money and making the bills and doing this and, you know, doing anything, you know? And I'm like, damn, like, you know, that's where his head is at. I can't be like, you know, everything's all good. Like, bills need to be paid, you know? It's stressful.
It is very stressful. And I think that that's so important to just like support each other through all of that in the finances, because there's going to be ups, downs, like, and this is where I'm trying, like, where I was like talking about this. Like, I just think that so much pressure needs to be taken off of that. You know what I mean? Like,
it's hard.
It's hard. But that's why we just need to be more like transparent, honest, talk about it, and like, you know, ask for it to come to you, believe in it,
have these conversations
and have it be
people.
More positive and conversational and like always talking about it. And then it will, instead of just making it a requirement or a checklist on the partner that you're looking for.
And maybe more people, you know, can help each other that way too. Because even when I think about my relationship, I remember in the beginning, yes, I had a job. Yes, I was making money and I was moving around. I was doing all these things. But I had a credit card bill that was, you know, pretty jacked high. Up too. Yeah. And I remember stressing about it and not telling my man about it until the point where I was crying one day and I ended up telling him about it. And he was like, why didn't you tell me this 6 months ago? We would have handled this. And I was like, I'm literally just a dumb bitch because I'm scared. And I feel like I shouldn't. Like, that's ridiculous.
It is like, it creates this fear and anxiety and embarrassment. And like,
meanwhile, no one's in a place of judgment or like can even fucking talk. Like, you never know.
There's people fucking walking around with Birkins that cannot afford it.
They got nothing in it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, it's like, and I think that's why it needs to be so important in a different way when you're choosing a partner, because I have now a partner that we sit down and he's like, okay, let's budget this out and let's go spend this much money at the grocery store and let's see how long that lasts us. And then we'll see if the meal plans make more sense financially. Because either way, we got to eat and we got to eat a lot. Because, you know, working out, whatever.
Yeah.
You know? So, like,
relatable.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to see which one makes more sense. And he wants to sit down, talk about finances. How much money are we spending when we go out? Let's try to cut it back on this.
Well, blah, blah, blah. When you're living under the same roof as someone, like, you have to be transparent about these things.
And, like, no, we're not, like, millionaires over here. But, like, do I believe that we're going to get to a point like that? Absolutely. Yeah. Because we're being smart. We're being transparent. We're not married yet. And
you're
we're both
two
working
people
together.
Who want more in life and like, want to get better, want to make more money, see way more for yourselves. Like,
it's just the attitude and the outlook on the finances being where it's more so like, let's do this together. And like, some months he's going to have bad months and like, it is what it is, you know?
Yeah, sometimes it's bad years, bitch.
Right, exactly. If, you know, your man decides to leave his job and get a new job, there might be a, you know, you might have met him when he was like.
It would be a different story if your man was then trying to kick his feet up and didn't want to do anything.
Right.
But, you know, that's when it comes down to knowing who you're with and knowing that they want better for themselves and in life. And no matter what, if you have that partnership with someone, then no matter how deep and rock bottom you get, like, you'll have each other to get each other out. And, like, that's another thing too, is like, that's why that trust with someone is the most important part, and that's what you should be looking for in a relationship. Someone who's got your motherfucking back and not got your wallet, you know, like, that is when push comes to shove, like, your relationship will make it and you guys will probably always do better in life compared to other people, you know?
Dude, literally, like, my ex, I've brought him up multiple times on this podcast, my abusive ex, had me during COVID, and you guys, I might sound crazy when I say this because it does sound crazy. Had me sign up for a small business loan. And now I'm $30,000 in debt because of this man who spent it all at the club on bottle service.
That's crazy. The whole thing.
Yeah, it wasn't me spending that money. You know what I mean? Like, it was me there for sure. I was partaking, but, like, you know, we're not going to get into all the manipulation, whatever, used to get to that point. But yeah, down the drain. I mean, obviously a lot of it was used for my mortgage and, like, things like that as well, as this man was living in my house.
But in hindsight, that money goes quick. That money goes quick.
Yeah, $30,000, that's nothing during COVID when you're not making any money.
Oh my God.
And yeah, so, like, it's very important to, like, take finances as, like, not something that you're, like, looking for to, like, show off, not for things. It's like, this is something that you need to trust and believe and, like, know in your partner is, like, you're going to do it together. It's a positive thing. It's like, it shouldn't be a burden on your relationship, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, even though he had money from shit, you know.
Stressing about money is so draining.
It is. It's extremely
because
draining.
It's like, who even, like, we have to pay to be alive. Like, who made this up? This is crazy.
I know.
You know, so it's on the other hand, it's really hard not to think about it, you know? Like, in order to fucking live and keep the lights on and keep your bills paid, like, you got to make money. So, of course, we have to think about these things, but let's think about them as abundant and not, like, you know, this thing that is so untangible and that we won't have it. Like, that also has the same effect on your life. Like, when you have that small-minded thinking and, like, you know, you don't think with abundance and that things will flow to you, like, it'll do the same thing in every aspect of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, like, literally the moral of the story here is, like, just the finances need to not be so much of, like, something that we're chasing and we're worshiping. Like, it needs to be just, like, something that is a flow. And, you know, there's more important things in life, and, like, we need the money to
survive, but at the end of the day,
that's not what we're gonna take
to the grave with us, right? No one's gonna remember our things. No one will remember what car we had, what apartment you lived in. Like, these things are all materials, you know, and unfortunately it's just the world we live in now. But
that's what I look for in friends, is people who, like, view this kind of stuff. Like, I don't want to feel like if I'm, like, going out to dinner with people, if I'm not wearing, like, designer, that I don't belong there. You know what I mean?
That's crazy. There's been times down here in Miami, like, this one time I think about specifically where I went out to dinner with, like, some people, and I didn't, you know, I mean, I looked great then. I don't even know what I'm talking about, but I felt like that's how I was being looked at, just because I didn't wear my diamond necklace and I didn't wear my diamond bracelet. And I was like, this is not the people I need to be around, you know? Because I don't value those things at all. You know, I like people like Adam Sandler who walk around looking like a fucking homeless person, but that guy's got money, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Because it's like, it doesn't define you. So why are you going to let something define you if money, it's paper. It's at the end of the day, in real, true meaning, light of life, money is just another thing. Like, nothing.
Well, yeah, and that's what was brought up in church that like made my like
light bulb
brain
moment.
start going, and why I wanted to talk about it. He was saying like he told a story about how he went to go buy a new car because it was time for a new car, and he wanted a brand new car. They're like 2023, like, and they told him how much it was, and he was like, well, I can't get that car because I can't afford it. Well, there's financing and there's, and then that's the easiest option. Oh, I can still get the car. I just have to finance it. You know what I mean? But then you're living above what you can afford,
right?
And that's not going to create generational wealth.
Right.
That's going to create temporary wealth,
right?
Or the
idea of wealth. Like that a thing will bring you that, or give you that,
right? Or give you a status, or like whatever, clout. I don't even know. And
it's so crazy how much I don't get. Like, I think I know you and I agree with like on this is like we like nice things, of course. Like if I could, I just love like things and like shopping and making people happy. Like I would love to just be like recklessly spending money, but I know that you could burn all of this shit in flames right in front of my eyes, and like I'm gonna be just fine. Like it has nothing, it holds no weight.
Well, it's funny what being around it. Goes back to what we've said before too about the type of people you surround yourself with. Like I have a friend who was hanging out with one of her friends who has a very wealthy boyfriend, very wealthy. Like she has her own credit card now, lives in the Porsche building, like, drives the fancy cars, whatever. And my friend was hanging out with her for like a week while he was out of town. And this girl was like recklessly spending and like living however she wanted and whatever. And my friend comes back to me and she was like, it made me overthink a little bit. Like maybe I should be giving people in the past, like men that are not right for her, another chance because they had this like type of money and wealth and things. And she was like, but then I realized that it was only because I was around her for so long that it started to like leak into my subconscious and make me think that I should be looking for something like that, because she's talking to somebody else who is a great guy and like whatever.
Yeah.
Who isn't super, super wealthy,
But that be her like new standard.
Right. And like,
I do see, not that like it would be an end all be all, but like, aim for the stars when you're looking for a partner. Like if you could find someone who's amazing to you, caring, loving, and fucking bawling out of his ass, that's great. But like if that's all you're looking for and not the other things, now you're just in it for the wrong thing.
That's the thing is with her is like, she's talking to somebody who could potentially be a really good partner. And then she was like around a girl who was dating a fucking ballin' guy for 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden she's overthinking that she shouldn't be talking to this guy. It's
even
like,
if he's like a good guy.
Holy shit. Like, like this is what
that's your priority.
Social media, all these things have like an effect on your brain, even when you're not even trying to think that way. It's like we have to be so conscious of that. That's why I don't hang out with people who like make me second guess decisions I've made in my life because of what they are talking about or what they have, Like we can't compare our situations to other people.
Yeah.
And
you can't
allow it to be like, that's why, it's always important to hang around people who are doing really well in life because it helps you do better, but not people who are gonna make you think that what you have isn't enough.
Yeah,
there's
or
a
people
difference.
who like really like idolize those things. Like
because then it's gonna make you
things.
think that way,
right? Yeah,
we're all human.
Farther away from like what actually matters in life.
Yeah,
and we're always here to remind you guys.
Always.
So that's just moral of the story is let's get more comfortable like talking about finances and money together. Like. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? It's not going to benefit you to like worry and stress on your own, maybe someone can help you, or maybe you'll feel less fucked up if you're in debt, like you're not the only one. Trust me. Like a lot of people are out here struggling and silently struggling and living below and above their means. Like everyone's got everyone's got it going on.
Everyone.
So we want to always remind you guys of that. And thank you for tuning in with us today.